Hello.
Hi.
So today's a really chill lunch video because we're eating lunch. So if you're
We are
eating lunch, join us while we make a tier list while eating lunch. We're gonna be ranking Shonen villains, or at least like big Shonen, because I'm not doing every low Shonen because that'll take forever. First up, we got the Naruto villains. It's Hachi, SS tier. Do you agree?
I love Itachi.
Remember, you have to be a bit more chill with this video. Put on your
We have
Bob
to be
Ross
more.
voice. Actually, we should everyone watching, put on your Bob Ross voice too. Tachi's SS tier. His he's not really a villain, but he is an antagonist. Well, no, he's a villain, not an antagonist. Wrong thing. Um, his I like his whole character arc where he's just trying to protect his brother, but no one knows. He sacrificed his entire life for the sake of others, and he's just noble. Next, we
Hmm.
got Pain, another S tier villain.
I love Pain. He did nothing wrong.
He did do. I think he did something wrong. Pain is Pain slash Nagato. His whole thing was so good. He, I like how they started for peace. Him, Conan, and Yahiko.
Hmm.
But then slowly got taken away from them through the acts of the if he was on here, would be F tier Donzo.
I love Donzo. He's everyone's favorite, guys.
hmm So, mm, hold on. Actually, what's your lunch? Really quick before we continue.
It's kind of awesome. It's called I warmed up a can of ABC 123s. You know the things made for actual 5-year-olds. That.
I see. I'm eating spinach dip with bread and then a ham and cheese sandwich with mayonnaise.
Do you say spinach with bread?
Spinach dip.
Oh, okay.
It was Easter yesterday, so my dad made it. Actually, happy Easter to you all. Late Easter.
Yeah.
Also, I like his resolution because
Hmm.
Naruto does use Taku no Jutsu on quite a few villains, but I feel like Nagato felt like the only true Taku no Jutsu, if that makes sense.
The one that made sense to talk and not just immediately murk Naruto. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying Obito technically did, but it wasn't just Naruto. There's a bunch of people. Um, Gara was Naruto, but was also a few other things. And but Nagato was just Naruto. It was just him and Naruto, a one-on-one conversation.
And it was a good conversation. It wasn't just like you don't have to hurt people. You can be a good person. It made sense why he stopped.
hmm Next, we got Obito, S tier.
I always hope good.
Obito is an amazing villain. I think his whole well, some people disagree. I think he had more right to do what he did than Nagato.
Sure, buddy.
I'm just saying, he entrusted everything to his friend when he thought he was leaving behind the world. He entrusted every single thing, and and he was killed, and everything was taken away from him right when he thought he could get it back.
Mm-hmm. It's very sad.
Also, the mystery of who he was the entire time. The only thing is, how did Kakashi not know who the man who Madara in the mask was? How there were so many signs.
So many signs. Ah, yes, because this kid that got crushed by a rock while I was a
Okay,
child.
that doesn't matter.
Literally, literally,
They
he's
both
still alive.
okay. They each had one Mangekyo Sharingan. They were the same thing and they had the same ability. He was also a Uchiha when all the Uchiha except Sasuke were dead. So it
He
could have
figured
been
it out pretty fast, but I don't think you would immediately.
I don't know Madara. Madara is another S tier villain.
Mm-hmm.
Madara is probably the most justified antagonist in all of Naruto, just because ev- he was completely 100% betrayed by his best friend.
Yeah, and he just wanted to make people happy afterwards.
Exactly. be fair to Infant Tsukiyomi, while it does, I I say it's both a good thing and a bad thing, because he did want to create a world happiness. He just went about it and not in the way he wasn't thinking about the correct way. Mater was
Mhm.
just, if you think about, Mater was misled by himself. Not only, but Toby Rama being racist is the only reason any of these other villains happened. Next,
Yeah, but
Momosh.
also he kind of had drip.
True. Momoshiki's A tier. He's a great
Uh,
Boruto villain. Um,
I fought him in Boruto's Tail and Ultimate Ninja Storm 4, so I can say he's awesome.
yeah, Momoshiki is a good villain. His I like that he's kind of like the Kurama for Boruto, but it's a different relationship in a way. Because while Kurama was stuck inside of Boruto by someone else, Momoshiki stuck himself inside Boruto on purpose, and then slowly not and still to this day, even current manga, they're not really friends, even though they interact and he does use his power regularly. Unlike Naruto, who even he had to become friends to actually use Kuruma's power. And also,
Mm-hmm.
I like that he's just Otsuki. He started all. Ishiki, I say is B tier, just because his motives were kind of weak with just wanting revenge. Um, but he was a cool villain. I liked his powers and everything, and then he did use Sasuke as a Fortnite glider.
He was a cool villain. I like him.
And that's the end for Naruto villains. Give me 1 second while I take a bite of my scrumptious sandwich. Mm. Mm. Have you met Crocodile? No,
Yeah,
okay. What do you think? I say A tier.
I'd say A tier as well.
I like Crocodile. He's
He's
just
just a villain for the sake of being a villain.
yeah, and it feels right for one. I feel like in One Piece can get away with not having characters strong backstories and stuff for villains and strong motivations, only because there is one true motivation through the entire series, becoming finding the One Piece or becoming the strongest and taking control.
Mm-hmm.
Because there that in One Piece, you really don't need a strong villain arc.
No one's a good person in One Piece. I feel like
Yeah,
everyone's a villain in One Piece.
even Luffy. Luffy doesn't have a 3 billion bounty just be from helping people. He's also done some pretty bad stuff.
Yeah. Actually,
Next,
there's only one good person in One Piece, and his name is Chopper, and he's awesome.
actually, that's unironically true. Chopper literally has 1,000 bounty. Next is Enel. Enel, would say A tier, but the way he got defeated by Luffy is so ridiculous and stupid that I have to bring him down to B tier.
No, it was awesome.
I know, but it's just. Hold on. There should have been more. But next is
There should
Blackbeard.
have been more, but it was really funny. I've seen Blackbeard for about 10 minutes. All I know is that he's awesome, and his boat is the best in One Piece. So I'd say like
Mhm.
it.
Mhm. No, Blackbeard's a good character. He is the antithesis to Luffy in every single way. Like he is part of the same generation. However, everything he does is the complete opposite of Luffy, but while still being a villain. Next, we got Doflamingo, SS tier. Doflamingo is the I feel like is the only One Piece villain with like a true sad backstory. Doflamingo's backstory is actually like crushing. They they try to burn him alive while all the villagers sitting there watching just because of who he is. Dof plus his whole villain's good. I love his string fu, and he's just a great antagonist. Ne-
M1, M1.
next,
Uh huh.
I'm letting you name him.
You're not screen sharing. I hope you know that.
Am I not? Oh,
No. I've been waiting for you to say the name so I can tell you what I think of him.
Next, I'll give you hints for the admirals.
Is it Aokiji?
It's not
Oh, it's Kizaru.
a
Hi,
Kizer.
bud.
No. Kizer is A tier.
I've never seen him.
Mm. He's like, okay. I think all the. I actually put him. Here's the thing. I feel like he's both A tier and C tier, if that makes sense. Because I feel like in a way I kind of have to like him just because he's an admiral, and I like the other two admirals, Aokiji and Anko, whatever. Forget however you say the name. I feel like I'm putting him C tier just because I feel like he's brought up next. I'm seeing how far you are in One Piece because you haven't told me.
Hi, Aokiji.
Huh? Aokiji.
That's the funny man.
Aokiji's A tier. A for Ace, like the hole he made in his heart.
Like a donut.
Yeah, he's a good villain. Also, I like how he. Okay, I feel like he also gives the sense of there is no good people in One Piece.
Minus Chopper.
Minus Chopper. And I like how it's basically Saba's going to get revenge, or Luffy, whichever one. Next is Kaido. Kaido for me is C tier.
I've never seen.
He's like Crocodile. He's a villain to be a villain, but I feel like he's a villain to be a villain, but not in the way I feel like it should be. I mean, he's still cool. I like his fruit and stuff and everything, but I feel like everything centers a bit too much around him during some of the later One Piece.
I see.
Like I get like, here's the thing. He's like Madara where everything centers around him, but the reason everything centers around like Madara is because of who he is. One of the founders of Hidden Leaf and one of the strongest of the time. Kaido is one of the strongest all time, but he's rooted because he's forcibly rooted himself in. I'm gonna move him up to B tier, just because his fights are pretty cool. Piccolo. Piccolo's Piccolo when he was a villain was an S tier villain. Demon King Piccolo was good, and so was Piccolo Jr. originally. All his he is just trying to get revenge for his father, I think. Um, Next
Mm-hmm.
is Frieza. Frieza's another S tier villain.
He's a villain for the sake of I feel like it.
Here's the thing: Dragon Ball is also I'm a villain because I'm a villain, but in the same way, every villain makes sense that they're a villain to be a villain. The
Mm-hmm.
original Demon King Piccolo was a villain because Kami wanted to become Kami, so he had to get rid of all the evilness in his heart. Frieza is a villain because they needed a whole reason for the Saiyans to go out, and then make him a villain, but also make it so everything builds up for him, like through that whole arc. Because
Mm-hmm.
you know that Vegeta's not the top dog, because they do report and stuff. Uh, yeah, Frieza's good. His power ups are cool, and you know, he's also a good character. He brings the pizzazz. Cell's S tier, also.
He just insults everyone.
He does insult everyone, but also it's just he insults everyone, and he's so cocky that I have to love him, just because of how like no one in his mind he is perfection, and he brings so much to the table. He also brings so much to the story. By Gohan, the dive between Gohan and Cell is amazing because Cell believes he is perfect, believes he is the best. However, Gohan believes he is super imperfect and believes he is weak. Although in reality, it's flipped. While Gohan isn't perfect, he is the strongest at that point. And while Cell thinks he's perfect, he is not the strongest. And he is actually imperfect. Next is Goku Black, SS villain. Do you agree?
isn't the whole reason he's a villain just because he didn't like other Gokus? He's like,
No,
no.
because he lost to Goku.
He lost to Goku, therefore I'm going to kill all the other Gokus.
Well, no. Not only that, when he saw how Goku fought, he when he fought Goku and he lost, he believed gods were above all else and nothing was and no were better than them. So he was pretty mad about it. So he goes to show him like a different world, right? The Supreme Kai of that universe.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes and they show that there's go to this planet of like savages, right? Basically like cavemen, and he's seeing them beat each other up. To be fair, I think the problem with him is that what the thing is, the reason he became how he came is because he only saw the bad of humanity. And then by the time he got to Earth, or by the time he started, by the time he was fighting Trunks and all that, he was so far into it that he was completely gone in his mind. And then,
Also, he's British.
he is British. But I do like his. I also love Goku Black. His character is cool, and also Super Saiyan Rose is the best transformation. Now we have an I'm gonna say D tier villain, Jiren, because I read the manga and watched the show.
Does Jiren come back?
In the show, Jiren's F tier, but in the manga, they kind of set Jiren up beforehand, before turn power, and make him look actually cool, so he'd be B tier in the manga. Because the thing is, in the show, they give him like you don't know who Jiren is until the turn power right there. In the manga, Toppo kind of says, "Oh, I gotta go gather greatest warriors." And they talk and they're like mentioning, "Oh, Jiren this, Jiren that." When he's talking to other people, and you see Jiren, and Jiren comes with a great entrance. And also, they don't try to force in his backstory at the right before they're about to beat him. Next is Shirogaki from My Hero. I say A tier. Do you agree?
I agree.
Shirogaki,
I'd say A or S. I really
yeah,
like Shirogaki.
I also love. I'm gonna put him low S. His backstory is, oh my god, I feel so bad for him.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's like he was Deku, but he got a quirk. But instead of getting, a good quirk that could help people, he just got not an awful quirk, but he just got like a destructive, villainous. I think his father says disgusting quirk.
Yeah, which honestly, like, could you imagine as being a child and then like touching your parents and then just see them disintegrate
Yeah.
until you're old?
He accidentally killed a dog and then his sister.
Mm-hmm. Because he doesn't know what his powers were.
Yeah. And just his whole life crumbled in seconds. Everything. And all that was left to help him was all for one who took advantage of him, and then made him hate everything to the point where he's mentally broken. A lot of he's such a good villain. Dobby's also an S tier villain. I love Dobby. I think the whole thing of Dobby, you caught up, right?
Uh-huh.
Dobby being Endeavor's like son that does it. He both Endeavor just being an awful parent, but also Dobby not fully understanding is just such a good setup. Because I like compared Shirogaki that way. Shirogaki didn't know, and his dad hated him, but in a way, his dad didn't indirectly cause it. In a way, because Endeavor indirectly caused Dobby by not telling him that he can't use his powers. He just tried to force him not to, instead of saying, "I'm sorry," instead of saying him down, talking to him that his powers are gonna kill him if he tries to use them.
He did say that. He was like, no.
No, he sat him down so he can't be a hero. He never told him what his powers were doing to him.
I think it was pretty obvious because he knew he was burning himself.
Yeah, but also you have to remember he was a kid, and kids are stupid.
That's true.
He probably thought his father was burning himself when he first used his powers too.
Probably.
And also, I just like how it leads in. I feel like it brings Endeavor
I like how his whole thing is just, I want to heroes for being bad people.
Yeah, because he points out the imperfections of the hero's world. I also like how he directly gives Endeavor everything he deserves,
Mm-hmm.
showing the world that he was an awful, abusive person. His wife ended up hospitalized because of him. Everything he did just made everything worse.
Yeah.
But to be fair, and I think another thing is also love him for, he did that. However, the main cause is he actually loved Dobby or whatever. I forget what his name is. I just call him Dobby. He loved him when he was a kid, but then that loss of him made him become bad, even worse against everyone else. He was the only one that he was actually treating great, but
Yeah.
he also treated Todoroki way too good. I'm sorry, Overhaul's another S villain. The My Hero villains, or at
What
least the
was
main ones,
Overhaul? What was Overhaul's thing again? I knew he
he
was like making things that make
he's
art
making
so really stupid, but
he's
for
basically
what purpose?
he's just doing it because he just wanted to please his boss. That's all. He was just part of the mafia, and all he wanted to do is please the boss. Also,
Hmm.
after I just feel heartbroken for him after. Like he got his arms removed, his quirks removed, so he couldn't even bring them back, and he's just walking like mental breakdown.
Every My Hero villain's so good. It's just that the people on the good side are kind of
Yeah, the villains outshine the heroes majorly. I love the villains way more than the heroes in My Hero.
yeah. There's obviously a few heroes I like, but for the most
Yeah,
part, the villains are so much better written characters.
yeah, because the heroes, none of them really have that. The only one that you could say is a sad backstory. The only ones you say a sad backstory is Deku, kind of, because he was just ostracized as a kid for not having a quirk and is beaten up every day and made fun of. And then the only one that I can think was really bad was Todoroki, who was literally
Todoroki.
because
Yeah.
Todoroki was literally abused all his childhood and tried to reject his fire powers, but then ended up having to use them.
Yeah. Todoroki is well written, but everyone else is just kind of like a normal high schooler, which makes the
Wants
villain just seem that much
Yeah,
better.
they just want to become the heroes. Next we're on Demon Slayer. If I'm correct, this is the person who replaces Gyutaro in the manga. He's his black thunder breathing. I'll say C tier because he just kind of shows up. He's just there as an obstacle for Zenitsu, but I also like how he's kind of interwoven into Zenitsu's fast. Gyutaro. What do you think of Gyutaro?
I like Gyutaro a lot.
I say A tier.
Me too.
His
A or
his backstory. I think, in my opinion, everyone had it coming.
True.
His life was just awful day one, and no one helped him. People, I don't. There was not a single person that actually loved him. They literally say his mother tried to kill him, but he wouldn't die.
The
Like
only person that loved him was his sister.
exactly, and who? Yeah, the only person that did love him was his sister and he was there for his sister, and then yeah, and then everything, and then his sister is just taken away from him when he thought everything was finally starting to turn up for them. All because she didn't want to, join the family business.
Which is a strange family business, but
It is a strange family
makes
business.
sense.
It makes sense for how they were. Next is the Upper Moon Pot Demon. He's too suspicious for me to like him. He's F tier.
I don't understand what his deal is, and I think he should stay far away from any playground.
Oh no, the playground should be way far away. Next we have what's his name? Starts with a D. Do it's Do something. Do something. All I know,
Oh,
I've
Doma.
Doma. Yes, he's S tier.
I've seen him for about 15
Yeah,
minutes, and he's
in the
awesome.
manga, him and Shinobu have a whole fight, and his backstory isn't that sad actually, but it's just the fact that he I just love him because of how much of a douche he is to everyone.
He is really funny. He gives me Kokichi energy, except if Kokichi was
Uh,
a mesmer.
exactly. He's just a douche to everyone that's below him. The only person he respects is Upper Moon, one, and Muzan. He's also just funny. My favorite thing is, okay, he tries to hit on Shinobi while they're fighting. I'm not joking.
That's awesome.
Doma's just so funny that I have to put him in S tier. Next is Akaza's also S tier. You haven't seen his backstory, but when I say Akaza probably has the saddest backstory in all of Demon Slayer, I'm not joking.
Do you think of Akaza?
Huh?
I think Akaza should work at Dunkin' Donuts. He's pretty good at that.
He's pretty good at that. Akaza is actually, put it this way, for people who are down on my beliefs if they haven't read the manga, Akaza is such a good character that the current Japan Prime Minister, when one of his first statements in office was that his favorite character was Akaza from Demon Slayer of all in all anime.
Thank you for hiring me. My favorite character is Akaza.
Yeah. Next is Upper Moon 1, also S tier. He's just so cool. Yokushibi or whatever his name. His moon breathing's so cool.
It's like sun breathing, but not sun breathing.
It's like sun breathing, but moon.
That's so true.
You know, it's just such a cool breathing. His sword's really cool. Also love. Actually, I can't spoil. I was gonna say something, but it's a spoiler for you, like a big one. But his lore is really good. Next, we have JoJo. Cars. Cars is S tier.
Cars just wants to look at the sun.
Exactly. Cars is just. He's a great villain. He manipulated. He's like. Okay. He's like disc. No, he came before Aizen, but in a way he's kind of like discount Aizen because he's good at manipulating, but not as good. Cars is just great. His power is good. I also loved his dynamic with Joseph. You planned this all along, didn't you, Joseph? I planned everything from the very start. I said that so he'll go insane.
Joseph is like the best. He's just so funny.
Exactly. Also, Car's power is
My
super
favorite
cool.
part when he shows up to his own funeral.
That is true. I think Cars is just funny. Cars power is really cool. Also love how my favorite fight in all of JoJo is Cars ultimate life form versus Joseph with an airplane.
I have the ultimate life form. I have an airplane.
Awesome. Next is Dio.
I'm actually gonna cause an eruption that makes you go into space.
Next is Dio. Dio, S tier. SS actually. Yeah. Dio's such a good villain.
I don't know why he's a villain, but he just felt like it.
I think he's one of those other characters that everything in JoJo revolves around him.
Yeah, and he's just a villain because he feels like it.
He's just a villain because he hates all Joestars.
Like, I hate this guy. He beat me at football.
Exactly. And then, like, it's just Dio. It's crazy because you know how they Pucci resets the universe, reversing the Joestar thing,
Yeah.
where they're all affected. I feel like they say that, but in a way, I feel like that in reality, they just reversed the chariot. He just changed the chariot crash so that he never crashed into that chariot. So that they never crashed that thing. Because without that, Dio would have never met them.
And JoJo would have not happened.
Exactly.
Actually, the Pillarman would have happened, but that's it.
Huh?
The Pillarman still wouldn't happen, but everything else basically revolves around Dio.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, in a way, the Pillarmen were revolved around Dio, too. Remember, they only started doing all that because of Dio and the Stone Mask. It was Speedwagon Foundation that started that. And what would Speedwagon still be doing if he never met JoJo? Just Jonathan? He would have been a street thug.
Actually, then it's just Diavolo.
Yeah. It would have just been Diavolo, Part 7 and Part 8. Actually, and Kira.
You fool.
You fool.
Kira, you see, you're actually stupid because Dio is there in part 7. He's just a dinosaur.
That is true. Anyway, Yoshikage here, S tier.
S, 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 S.
SS, I agree. He's just such a good villain. The David Bowie fit goes hard. I like how he. I like how he's not. I feel like in JoJo, a lot of villains just start out. They don't become like villains until the JoJos get involved.
But
Or
he
do
was always a villain, and just
yeah. He's
he's
always
a villain because he's a serial killer.
yeah. He's always been a serial killer. It just didn't happen when a JoJo showed up. He's always been a serial killer. Same you can say of Diavolo, who I think out of all the villains, actually I'm pretty sure he's the only villain to have a backstory, isn't he?
Diavolo has a backstory.
Remember he was abandoned as a child or whatever, and
Oh,
basically
yeah,
he was in
right.
that church and stuff. And it was a pretty like good backstory.
Actually, Poochie has a backstory.
That's true. But Poochie's backstory, but Poochie wasn't was on Poochie's backstory didn't make him a villain. It was Dio convincing him he was Jesus.
Come on, Poochie.
But
I believe in you.
Diavolo's S tier.
True.
I don't know. Diavolo's just great. The scene of him, I like how he's a second personality. That's another thing I like. He's a second personality created by trauma. Or no, isn't Doppio the second personality?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is because he doesn't want to live
Accept
in
it.
English that much.
Yeah, Doppio's second personality, trying to.
Doppio's just him, but if the trauma never happened.
Yeah, no, because I think it's the reason Doppio's the trauma is because he directly tried to block out the trauma in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
But Poochie's S tier.
I love Poochie. He's just. I want to obtain heaven.
I want to obtain heaven. To be fair, Poochie's true motives just comes down to him being religious.
Yeah, he was just like Dio told me to.
But he is also the only villain to actually win.
Well, I feel like when you have the ability to just make as many other people as you want, it kind of helps.
True, but the only reason he was able to do everything is I don't know what that trailer is. Him being a priest and going to and being the priest in the jail helped him, and also the fact that he was intelligent helped him too.
Yeah, I think he was a really cool villain because unlike all the other villains, they didn't just stay the same and just try to like accomplish a task. He was there actively like
Yeah.
trying to.
Like Dio sent out tons of his minions and just waited. Kira just kept trying to hide and only got into conflict when he was directly with them. Cars mainly had Wamu and ACDC did everything. He just kind of walked around waiting.
Yeah.
Diavolo sent all his minions. And
Poochie was there doing stuff.
Yeah. He was just doing he was just distracting while he did all the hard work.
Yeah. Plus, it was a really cool villain to have somebody that isn't that strong normally, because Poochie isn't strong with Whitesnake.
Yeah, Whitesnake is not strong. Seamoon, he does get strong, but also it's not as strong as some of the other stands you see before. It's only when he gets made in heaven where he becomes truly like strong, which he worked towards.
Yeah, Whitesnake isn't that broken, but it's just a cool ability that lets him do cool things.
Okay. Next, Funny Valentine, S tier.
He eats napkins.
Mm-hmm. I think Funny Valentine has the funniest thing. He became buff. He was fat, but became buff for the sake of America.
I heard somebody describe him as the average Genshin Impact player because he gets really fat, eats napkins, and then gets buff and has funny with a child.
That is true. But I think the fact that he's kind of I think the fact that he is the president works into it, because they could have they David Bowie up there, Akira. They could accuse him of murder and stuff. He's a normal dude, right? He could be caught by the police. Dio, he could not be caught by the police because he's a mortal vampire, but he was still people still probably just saw him as a really buff dude. Poochie's a priest.
But
Sure, he has some standing power in the church, but he's also just a priest. He's not anything big. Diavolo was a mafia boss. They could definitely get him arrested. And Cards was this vampire, so he could definitely be pointed out.
It's less of they could arrest him, and more of they were trying to, because I don't think you could arrest Diavolo.
That's true, but I think the fact that the rest of them were not like super big people, but Funny Valentine was this giant. He was known by everyone. Like everyone knew who the president Funny Valentine was. They couldn't just go out and attack him, because they could have attacked anyone else in the streets, and people would have run. Sure, the cops would have called. But if Johnny just went up to Funny Valentine in the middle of something and started attacking him, he would have he would have Secret Services on him. He would have so many people on him immediately.
Yeah.
And he could just feign ignorance because he's president. Also,
and also it's funny.
Yeah, D4C is funny. Next we're on Jujutsu Kaisen with Sukuna. Sukuna's SS here.
Sukuna D's nuts.
Sukuna D's nuts. That's probably unironically what set him Megumi when he sent him flying 10 billion meters.
Sukuna would be the person to do that.
Sukuna definitely tells your D's nuts jokes.
Sukuna is just such a goofy. I can't even tell if Sukuna's a villain.
Yeah, okay. Sukuna's just kind of there. Well, no, he's a villain, but I think it's just.
He's a villain without a goal. He's just there, causes as much chaos, and then just insults Itadori.
Yeah, he's there, insults Itadori, is trying to find Megumi to make him stronger, that kills a bunch of people, then goes back in, waits for Itadori to find more fingers.
Go find more fingers.
Yeah. His only goal is to just wait and then get strong. Then just fight people.
That is true.
That's another thing. Realistically, Sukuna only wants to fight.
Yeah, Sukuna doesn't want to do anything special.
Yeah. But he's still a great villain. He does do tons of awful things.
We should shorten this. We're spending too much time.
I'm sorry, but we have to go. We have Bleach coming up. I think that the hour. There might be an hour per character for Bleach.
I'm gonna have to force him to go fast.
Okay, Sukuna. Yeah, he does awful things. He's funny, but he's still kind of a chill character. Mahito, I'm pretty sure that's his name, from Jujutsu Kaisen. He basically has no cursed spirits. I believe he's part of the Zenin clan. Yeah, he is part of the Zenin clan. He's just really insanely strong, and he's S tier. He fights Gojo, and Gojo unlocks his potential. Asta's devil is not a villain. This guy was kind of just there. Or no,
he was a villain for a whole 15 minutes. Okay.
No, this guy. No, this is the one devil they fought. He was kind of just a villain that was kind of there.
No, I mean, Asta's devil.
Yeah. Dante, B tier. They kind of set him up a bit nice, but he dies too fast. And then the one devil they fight right after Dante kind of just shows up. So he's D tier, but he sets up for a future. Now we're on Bleach.
Oh God, no.
No, God, yes. Gin is S tier.
Gin's a masterpiece. It's just he's been trying to kill Aizen the whole time, and
yeah,
he's not really a villain.
But he's in. Yeah, technically he's a villain. He's just not an antagonist.
The sniper rifle of a sword.
The sniper rifle of Bankai is awesome. Yeah, I just like his whole thing. I also like the fact that he just leaves everything to Ichigo at the end.
Yeah.
Ukoria is S, top of S tier. He's amazing.
You're gonna hate me for this.
What?
I don't like him.
You're about to never be seen ever again.
Okay, explain why you like him.
Okay, I love the character that in Truly, he's not evil. He's just sad. Just trying to find a purpose. He learns humanity. He learns humanity through his experience, or with his experience of being holding Orihime captive and just talking to her. He actually cares. He also cares somewhat about human life, because tons of the Arankars are trying to basically just beat up Orihime. Grimjaw just kind of walks in because he just doesn't want to. He just kind of wants to show dominance and beats the two people up. But then Ukori actively does there. I think he's he's the perfect breaking point for Ichigo, because in True, he's just Ichigo, but the opposite. He's just villain version of Ichigo. Though he has basically no goal in life
Yeah,
other than
but
to
a
just
villain without a goal doesn't make a good villain.
Didn't we just put Sukuna in SS tier?
Well, Sukuna's goal is to fight.
Yeah, Ukoria's goal is kind of just to follow Aizen, because he has no other purpose. He doesn't want to be the strongest.
I
he
would
just
like it if
no.
he got a fight.
He did get a fight. It was Ichigo for Ukoria.
No. That was Ichigo getting beat up for 30 minutes straight, followed by Ichigo beating him up for 30 minutes straight.
No,
there wasn't a fight.
Let me speak. Continue speaking. Him versus Ichigo was overall just perfect for Ichigo's character. I think most of the series, Ichigo just kind of gets beat up really fast, and then leaves, trains for a bit, comes back, beat them up. But Ukoria actively beats up Ichigo to the point where he can't go and just train. He has to continue fighting him. He has no other option. To the point where Ichigo just snaps. He lets out White Zangetsu. He just completely breaks because he has no other choice.
I like his powers. I just
no. Let me talk. Let me finish speaking. Do you want it? Okay. Ukora is just he's cool overall. He's also, I think, a perfect all-around power. How he doesn't seem so overpowered to the point where he's overpowered, like just for the sake of being overpowered, because he actively gives up some of his strengths for his regeneration ability. If he didn't have that ability, he would have probably been Espada #1. But he has that ability, so he's not the strongest on purpose. He kind of is only as strong as he is because of his ability of being able to heal himself rapidly. Also, is just the ending. He gets crushed as he finally shows his humanity after fighting a true monster. Actually, that's another thing. He believes he's a monster and is treated as one, like just this monster throughout the entire thing, but then slowly gains humanity. And he shows humanity as he's fighting like a true 100% monster that's just has no regard for life whatsoever. Like White Zangetsu gets let out to Vassalure Ichigo. He doesn't even show kindness to his friend. He's destroying everything. And even though if Ichigo wasn't at that breaking point, he probably would have let him live and let him continue to regain his humanity, but he couldn't. He broke. His humanity flourished before his humanity finally showed before he could actually show it to the world. That's why really I love him.
That's crazy.
Here's the thing. Bleach, unlike Naruto, it's not just about the fights. Unlike One Piece, it's not about the adventure. Bleach is about the spirituality of everything. It is the depth of the big three. Everything has a purpose. Everything. Names, abilities, everything. Next is like Grimjow. Grimjow's S tier.
Better.
You haven't read the manga, But Grimjow's, he just Grimjow's just balling in the manga. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
He's balling normally.
But he balls in the manga too. That's what I'm gonna say. Also, he also is like perfectly the opposite of Ichigo, because Ichigo is like really nice to people, and Grimjow is just, your life means nothing. You serve zero purpose.
Exactly. That's why he's better.
Yuwa is another S villain.
Who?
Yuwa.
You watch.
You watch.
I saw him for a whole 15 minutes, so I can really say he's.
All
he's great.
know is he is the lore of Bleach. Nothing in Bleach happens without him. Nothing. Aizen would have not planned tons of stuff if he wasn't there. There would even be no one alive without him.
Didn't he create the universe or something?
Wrong. Soul King did, but he's as strong as the Soul King. Yeah. He's just everything happens around him. He's a great villain. He stands for, I think, a complete order by showing that, I think he shows that Soul Reapers, what their job is to kill Hollows, and they do act nice, they aren't good people. I think that's one thing people fail to realize. Soul Reapers are not good. Soul Reapers are actually pretty bad people. They really have a slums where they really have slums where lower people go.
The Soul Society got to be the biggest scam. I mean, I'd rather be there than Hueco Mundo, but still.
Yeah, they literally have an area where people can where like lower people. I'm pretty sure that's what they're called. Lower people just turn into hollows randomly, and they just eliminate them. There's also the Unohara that would just go to random towns and kill everyone.
And that's like Rukia's whole thing as well.
Yeah. And then, Soul Reapers are pretty awful people. That's also another thing.
I think it's less of them and more of the Soul Society.
Yeah, the Soul Society itself is just a bad thing. Most of the Soul Reapers are actually pretty good. It's just that a lot of the Soul Society is just a corrupt system, especially with that council.
That council got to be the dumbest lawmaking body I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, my favorite part was when they tried to sentence Aizen to prison, and then I remember Aizen laughs at them.
It's like, what are you gonna do?
We're not ranking Hunter x Hunter just because I want somebody here to watch it first. Also, I know this guy's from Monster, but I haven't seen Monster. And Aizen actually planned this entire tier list. He planned it all, and he planned it so that he was an SSS tier, because he is truly the greatest villain in all of anime.
Yeah, he plans everything, and it's so stupid, and
it makes sense though. Also, Aizen has to be the funniest of the 5 war powers. The 5 war powers are like the 5 special threats in Bleach, Advanced Blood War, and everyone symbolizes something. But Aizen, literally, they just say he represents Ryetsu. Which is, what do you mean, just Ryetsu?
He represents Ryetsu.
How strong is Aizen, where he is just Ryetsu?
Well, let's say Shikai Aizen better than Bankai.
Where is Bankai Aizen? Make the Hell Arc. Make it. I need to see his Bankai.
His Bankai is never gonna show up.
That's true. Overall, this is the Shonen villain tier list from basically some of the bigger shows. We're not doing every single show, because then we would actually be here for longer than 50 minutes.
Months, maybe years.
Yeah, we'd probably be here for a couple days if we did all of them. But villains, I have to say, overall had the bet. Actually, I'm pretty sure this villain list had a better track record than the hero list, the main character list.
That is very true.
Probably because villains have to put more time into them, in a way.
Yeah, because you want to make them.
You don't want to make them hollow.
You want to make people hate them, but you want to make people not like them.
Yeah, you don't want them to be hollow. Just like evil because they're evil. And if they're evil because they're evil, you have to have a good reason to make them evil because you're evil.
Okay, that's it.
Well, yeah, that's the video. Goodbye.
Bye.